Three times Rugby World Cup winners and back-to-back champions in 11 and 15, the All Blacks were considered the dominant force. But since that decade of dominance, I think few people would argue that Rassie Erasmus' Springboks side have taken on the mantle of the best in the world. There's been growing speculation that the All Blacks have lost their aura, 2 years without a rugby championship, and the failed Scott Razor Robinson's tenure, only the second time ever New Zealand have sacked a coach mid-cycle. But in the short period of time Dave Rennie has been head coach, are we starting to see glimpses of the attacking prowess that defined the great All Black sides? That golden era of All Black sides was made up of pace, power, rugby IQ individuals, amazing individual players who came together as a team. But the one thing that stood out was their skill level, just on another planet. It felt like they never gave you an in. It felt like they never made any errors. It felt like if there was a front five forward in a wide channel, they'd spot it straight away and not waste 1, 2, 3 phases before getting there. And they were just a brilliant, brilliant team. Their front five forwards were as good as their backs at handling. Their back three players were as good as the front row at breakdown contact skills, and it was just a complete team with brilliant halfbacks in Dan Carter and Aaron Smith, and just had all the weapons around you. They got the ball into the wide channels. They didn't give you a minute to breathe. And even if you felt you were in the game, their skill level, their power, their pace just came through in the last 15, 20 minutes. And they were a team who, if they scored once, they'd then back it up and score twice, 3 times, 4 times and take the game away from you. So that golden era were as skillful as any team I've seen, were as composed as any team I've seen, and their forwards could do what their backs could do, and their backs could do what the forwards could do as equally well. So under Dave Rennie, this All Blacks team has now become a very much possession-based team. So the recent Nations Championship, the rounds 1, 2 and 3, they're the team who have the most carries, the most passes. Now, if you're a team that has the most passes, you're obviously losing your forwards and your front five. A little bit like what we mentioned with the great All Blacks team. Lots of tips at the lines, lots of sort of ball movement, moving the point of contact. But if you're going to have the most passes in a team, you need to have ball players and second playmakers. And probably the All Blacks have got second and third playmakers in Ruben Love, who's playing at 10. You've also got Damian McKenzie. You've also got Jordie Barrett. So the way in which they're looking to play is they are looking to move the ball, shift the point of contact, and not engage in a traditional game of box kick to box kick and territory-based to territory-based. And Cam Roigard, in one of his interviews, who said he's really enjoying the style of play of not box kicking a huge amount. Only Fiji in the Nations Championship have kicked less than them from box kicks. 21 New Zealand have kicked. So that just goes to show that they are not looking to engage in that. And if you've got Jordie Barrett, if you've got Damian McKenzie in the wider channels, you can shift the ball, bring wingers up, move fullbacks across, and then find space with a 50-22 or just finding territory that way. But a brilliant team. And when you play with 2, 3 playmakers, you have to get the ball to the wide channels. Why do you play with 2 or 3 playmakers, and why do you play with a ball player at 12 and 15? It's because you want to get the ball into the wider channels as quickly as possible. And even if the ball is in the wide channel, you've then got 2 extra kicking options to little grubbers through to apply pressure that way, rather than just going at the line, one pass rugby, kick and applying pressure that way. So when you play with 2, 3 playmakers, you have to move the ball to space as quickly as possible. You're not waiting for 2, 3, 4, 5 phases for the defence to get set. You're looking to take that straight away and capitalise. Looking at their attacking stats from the Nations Championship this year, they've had more carries and more passes per game than any other team. A clear shift in structure, game plan, identity, whatever word you want to use, from last year's Rugby Championship under Scott Robinson, where they were very much a territory-based team and kick meters heavy to try and get results that way. This team are looking to move the ball, lots of passes, lots of carries, and they're not afraid to play lots of phases in their half. They do not want to just engage in kicking the ball back to the opposition to pressure. They would rather pressure you by asking your defence, can you defend for 16, 17, 18 phases 3, 4, 5 times in a game? So it may look as if they're running out of ideas, or they're looking like they're forcing things a bit, but that's the way they've chosen to apply pressure. And if you can keep your skill set high, the first game of the Nations Championship against France, their error rate was off the charts. Lots of balls at the line being turned over, which relieved a lot of pressure off France. Week 2, week 3 against Ireland in particular, the numbers were way, way down, and that's why they were so clinical. So just putting a number on it to give you an idea of how much that structure and identity has changed in the last 8 to 9 months from Scott Robinson to Dave Rennie. They're averaging an extra 90 carries per game and an extra 100 passes per game. Naturally, you're going to make a lot more errors when you keep hold of the ball for that long, but you're also asking defenses a lot more questions for a lot longer. Are they going to step in? Are they going to be tight? Are they going to bring their fullback up so they can apply pressure with the ball in hand with their 2 or 3 playmakers? Something I've noticed under Dave Rennie in the first 3 games is a shape which they're running, which is helping getting Ruben Love, Barrett, McKenzie on the ball to shift the ball and create lots more passes and test the defense, is a shape. And the shape is this. It's, imagine you've got a ruck in the 15-meter channel, you're coming back open, you're playing 9 to 10, they're playing a lot of rugby off 10, so they got a pod of 3 forwards in the middle of the pitch. The ball is going to the middle forward, so he's now got an option of inside ball, carry, tip, or the ball out the back, which is what they're playing a lot of. Geordie Barrett will position himself out the back of that, or McKenzie, whoever it is. If the ball goes out the back, he's then got a forward runner going nice and short to hold the defence, keep the defence tight in the middle of the pitch, then another player out the back. And what that is doing is buying your ball players time. So the defence in the middle, the forward's job in the middle of the park is to condense the defence, keep them tight, keep the space and preserve the space for Barrett, McKenzie, Love to shift the ball into the wide channel. Then they've got time to make their decisions. Do they shift? Do they run? Do they put little kicks in behind to pressure? And all it's doing is keeping the defence tight and asking Geordie Barrett, Ruben Love, McKenzie, can you make the right decision? And more often than not, the answer is yes. So the flip side of this shape, and what I love about this shape actually, is that there's options on it. So if the defense is nice and tight and condensed, they're going to move the ball to the outside channel. The shape is designed to keep the defense tight. Now, what the defense may do is their spaces may be a bit wider. So you've got you can see here in this example, you've got wider spaces in the front line of the defense. Now, if you've got that, they're going to still play that same shape, but all of a sudden the short balls or the carry lines become a lot more prevalent, and you can win collisions that way, or you can play through the defense. So the ball will still go to that second guy in the pod. He's then got that short ball becomes a real option because the space in the defense is wider and it's harder for them to make dominant tackles. You've also got a defense which is worried about 2 or 3 playmakers. So their prep in the week will be get out at Barrett, get out at McKenzie. So if they fly off the line and take too much space and their spacings are wide, you've then got short line off the first pod. Even if they play out the back to Barrett, that second runner off Barrett as a forward is going to beat the next guy in the hole. So if their spacings are wide, play through. If the spacings are tight, use your 2-3 playmakers to get the ball to the wide channel. The thing with this shape and the way that the All Blacks want to play under Dave Rennie, it still requires you to be physically dominant. But what New Zealand are hoping that lots of these passes shifting the point of contact is going to do is get them on the front foot. Because if you're losing contact after contact after contact and you're trying to still play pass, you're going to be in a bit of trouble. So what you need is your front 5 and your pack of forwards in particular to still give you that go forward, whether it's Savea. And even in the backs, you have to have a little bit of a balance. So Quinn Tupai is the guy essentially who needs to give them that go forward to allow Geordie Barrett to scan, allow McKenzie to come in and add little kicks in or little passes. So big emphasis still is on getting the game going forward, because if you just go side to side without any physical dominance, you're going to get eaten up. This is almost becoming a bit of a tactical trend in the game now, and you see teams like France playing second playmakers with Intermac and Jalibert, or Ramos when he's fit for France. You see England playing Finn Smith, Marcus Smith, George Furbank if he was fit. If you're enjoying today's video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. So this new 2 playmaker system is becoming a bit of a trend in the game at the minute. Lots more points being scored, lots more tries being scored, lots more line breaks, passes, etc. as we've mentioned. You see France are doing it with Jalibert and Intermac, Ramos when he's fit and available. You see England now have changed their approach, going from Ford and Freddie Stewart to Marcus Smith and Finn Smith, or Furbank if he's available. Scotland with Tuipulotu and Hutchinson, Hugh Jones. And even the Springboks, you look at sort of, whether it's Sasha Feinberg and Gunazulu, whether it's Lebok, whether it's Pollard and Damian Willemsen, whether he plays 12 or 15. And I just think the whole idea of this is helping teams get the ball into the wider channels, a second passing option, a second kicking option. Another really helpful point when you play with 2 playmakers or 3 playmakers in your team is you've got both sides to attack and you can keep structure. So imagine you're in England's team and you've got Finn Smith who decides to take a short side. He's ended up in a ruck. You then lost your general. You've then lost the guy who's looking to call things on the open side and dictate play. So what you end up doing is Marcus Smith or a Furbank will just take control of the open side. So he can slot in behind the pods. He can organise the play until Finn Smith has got himself back up, or the playmaker on the blind side has got himself back up into shape. And I think that's a really clever sort of add on to this shape, is that you don't always have to run perfect shape. You can attack open, blindside, kick, pass, run, and you've got 2 guys who are so used to doing it at 10, 15, 12, whoever you are. So it's a really, really smart play. And the way that the game is going, lots more points need to be scored, lots more attacking kicks, lots more passes. I think it's a smart way, but you have to play to who you select. Your cattle dictates who you select. If you play Ford and Freddie Stewart, more likely your game's going to be about applying pressure to teams. If you play Marcus Smith, Furbank and Finn Smith, Jalibert and Intermac, the game is probably going to be a bit more about can you keep hold of the ball and apply pressure that way, as the All Blacks have done with Geordie Barrett, Ruben Love and Damien McKenzie. Speaking of selection, the All Blacks have got a pretty special playmaker to come back into their ranks in Richie Mo'unga, who's eligible from October, available for November, the November leg of the Nations Championship, and he is going to bring another dynamic to this group. Probably the best playmaking 10 that's out there. Before he went to his Japan sort of sabbatical, his ability to help Ruben Love grow his confidence and his knowledge of the game, help bring Barrett into play, help bring McKenzie into play, understand what's needed, the way that he can spot, okay, the defence is tight, we play this way. If the defence is loose, we play this way. So he's going to be a huge asset and a scary thing for the rest of the world, that when he becomes available and they get more used to playing together, it's going to be really fascinating to watch. The next big test for this All Blacks team will be 4 matches against the back-to-back world champions and the best team in the world by a country mile at the minute, the Springboks. How will this attacking shape, with all the passes, the carries, the 2-3 playmakers, match up against the best team in the world and a team who are just looking to come up with line speed, shut that down? So I suppose it's a clash of styles in attack and defence. You've got the Springboks who are looking to just get the ball back as quickly as possible and ask teams to almost give the ball back to them through kicking. And the All Blacks who are looking to just dominate the ball, wait for an error in defence, wait for a fullback to rush up and put a little kick in behind and just be patient with the ball. So I think it's matching up to be perfect for how the Springboks defend. They want the ball back quickly, and how the All Blacks attack, they don't want to give it back to you quickly. They want to test you for 16, 17 phases. So I think it's really interesting to see how this matches up. If the All Blacks don't win enough collisions against the Springboks and they continue to just try and play pass, could be really difficult. If they can move the point of contact, if they can kind of move this big Springbok pack around, a little bit like what Scotland did, then they've got excellent players to be able to cause them problems. But you'd still fancy the Springboks are a dominant force in world rugby. But this All Blacks team is going to test them in ways that they haven't experienced in the last 3 to 4 games. It's going to be a superb rivalry. It's going to be 4 amazing matches and almost a clash of styles of how they want to play. But as we mentioned in one of the previous videos of decoding the Springbok Blitz, they do give you chances. So the All Blacks are going to have to be patient and rely on their ball playing ability and physical dominance through moving the point of contact to get opportunities. But it's not good enough against the Springboks to just line break. You have to convert, because they are the best in the world. The best I've seen, actually, the best I've seen forever of scrambling, chasing, harrying, just when they look beat, they manage to get a turnover or they get a big physical hit. So it's not just good enough line breaking and playing to edges against the Springbok Blitz. Yes, they give you chances, but they also recover and scramble as well as anyone in the world. So after all that, why are teams playing with 2 playmakers at 10, at 12, at 15, decision makers, ball players? The answer is that teams want to get the ball to width a lot more if you play in that style. the attacking kicks, the offloading is becoming so much more prevalent in the game now. You have to score points. You can't almost wait for teams to give you opportunities. So get the ball to width, control the game, control the field, control the possession. And if you've got 2 or 3 ball players in your team, it's going to make it a lot harder for teams to get the ball back off you, and they can make good decisions and apply pressure that way with the ball instead of applying pressure through a heavy box kick or territory-based game. The one thing I would counter with it is you need a balance. So you look at, say, a really good example is your Menoncello and your Brex. Menoncello gives you that go forward. Brex can be your ball player. Jordie Barrett's your ball player. Quinn Tupai gives you the go forward. Tuipulotu gives you the go forward. Rory Hutchinson can play that second playmaker role. So there's a balance, but teams are playing with it because they want to get the ball to width and they want to stress the opposition with ball in hand rather than kicking it back to them.